It was a pleasant, slightly cool evening. The sign of one of the establishments was illuminated from the outside by a couple of lanterns. There were not many people here today. Only one table was occupied by customers. Their table was already set. The guy either claimed or suggested out loud that the couple had been dating. They, without looking up from their food, unanimously denied it. The girl found the question annoying. She wondered if there was nothing else to ask. Her friends supported her. 20-year-old Dako Dahi doubted their sincerity. After all, how could one explain that the couple walked everywhere together as if glued to each other? The friends had to explain yet again that they were not a couple in a relationship. This was not the first time. The girl asked how long it was possible to discuss their relationship, and even began to threaten violence. Dako was suspicious that the guy and the girl never left each other's side. The blonde replied that he hung around with her friend every day. So did that give reason to think that the guys were in a relationship? The interlocutor apologized and said that the young man was not his type, and he didn't like the girl sitting opposite him either. She was surprised and assumed that was why he didn't have a partner. Now it was clear, and she didn't want to know about his tastes. She buried her face and shook all over. She asked for forgiveness because she really didn't understand how she could be something is connected to this guy. Meanwhile, the brunette tried to shove the burger into his mouth, loudly slurping. Dako said that he was angry just looking at that face. He asked to give the guy to him. The blonde, having assessed it critically, assured that it would be a waste of time, and the guy started praising the food out of place. The friends realized that he hadn't even heard anything. The girl was sure that her friend's problem was not at all in his appearance. This winter, everyone was wrapped up in warm clothes, and he was wearing a t-shirt, shorts, and slippers. A friend said that this was the fashion these days. The interlocutor sympathized with all the dead fashionistas. The guy didn't even hope that his friends would understand him. He assured that dressed like that he felt luxurious. And changing the subject, he suggested eating, because there was nothing to talk about. His girlfriend noticed the incompatibility of his face and character. A friend reminded her of her worries about her short-cut bangs, and he started to tease her about it. But soon he got a slap on the back of the head with threats. Dako adjusted his glasses on the bridge of his nose and suggested to his friends who were ready to kill each other to imagine that one of them suddenly fell in love. He asked if they would continue to deny everything then. The friends were taken aback and thought for a while. She pointed her finger at him dismissively, said she hated him and really didn't see him as anything more than a friend. She said that when he got a girlfriend, she would block his contacts. The friend said that was impossible because he considered himself a handsome guy. The squabble continued, but to Dako it was less like a lover's quarrel. Soon even hands were used. The friend consoled himself that it was a pretense. They denied it. Dako asked if the friends were suddenly locked in a dark room. Would anything happen between them? They all said in unison, "Nothing." Our heroine was the one who dreamed most of a bright student life. Her name was Han Kyul. She asked what his important conversation was about. The guy standing in front of her was a friend and comrade she had grown up with. His name was Kang Tae-pyong. They were both in their 20s. The guy was holding an envelope in his hands, and he was asking his friend to guess what it was. Han Kyul asked him. It turned out that her friend had received a letter of confession. The girl advised him to at least shave his legs. Her reaction was justified. After all, she was sure that there would soon be a breakup, literally in a few days. Kang Tae-pyong was impatient, but wanted to open the envelope with his friend. The girl asked him to kill her. She was irritated. These two had a special style of communication, and they never took offense at each other. And all this is because they had known each other since childhood. The girl knew that there was friendship between the boys, but thanks to the parents on both sides, this friendship of their children became possible. Kyul asked how long her friend's relationship with his new passion would last this time. The guy even frowned, and then he asked himself as if, what could one talk about with a lone wolf? Now it was the interlocutor's turn to frown. Turning her back to her friend, the girl announced that she was going to go home. Taepshin asked to forgive him. He wanted to at least hear her congratulations. A friend was surprised that in their time people still wrote letters, and she asked if it was a notification. Now the friend had already turned his back. Having called Kyul a beauty, he asked her to be patient for a little while. The girl was ready, bet money that the relationship would not last even 3 weeks. However, more time passed than the stated time, and it seemed that the relationship was serious. But a week later, the girl received a call. Han Kyul was already fast asleep. But the phone persistently continued to vibrate and ring. Our heroine cursed herself silently for calling at dawn. The subscriber's name on the screen was Cap Keption. The girl took the device in her hands, sleepily rubbed her eyes, tried to understand what business he had at night. She assumed that the guy could have just dialed by accident. But as soon as she took the call, Cap Teption blurted out the news that he had broken up with his girlfriend. The guy said that his beloved hated him, and he thought that their union was made in heaven, and he even bought his beloved a gold ring of the highest quality. Cap Teption complained about his fate. His voice broke. The girl guessed that he had started to cry, and asked why he was upset. It would seem that she should share her friend's grief, but for some reason Han Kyul wanted to laugh. After all, she knew that this would happen. She could barely restrain herself. The guy asked her to come and pick him up at the bar. She agreed, and she started getting ready. Like many girls, she had a problem that she had nothing to wear. Our heroine decided to go and tease Cap Teption. She ran down the street to meet him, smiling broadly and cheerfully. At the threshold of the Chano bar, the girl was met by a gloomy-looking employee of the establishment with cleaning tools in his hands. She was even more surprised that her friend was sleeping face down at the table. In addition to snacks, there was also alcohol. The employee of the establishment assumed that the person who entered was the girlfriend of the late visitor. Our heroine was outraged by this. She began to deny it vehemently, and said that she was just a friend, not a lover of that weirdo. She assured that she came here at his request to take him home. The guy demanded that they take the drunk quickly and leave, because the bar was already closing. Han Kyul apologized, but the employee no longer listened to her and began to wash the floors of the establishment. The young man spoke on the phone with the boss, that the problem had already been resolved and the girl would take the difficult client. He promised to close everything and leave. Our heroine faced a dilemma of how to drag this fool home. She began to wake him up, but he did not respond to the call of his name, Cap Teption. The girl stroked his head. She even regretted laughing at him. She began to apologize. But then Han Kyul found an unpaid bill on the table. She cursed under her breath. She promised to beat her friend. The girl was angry with Cap Teption. She asked how much he had drunk to reach such a state. Her friend did not wake up and did not react to her screams. Han Kyul looked at the check. It was unreal. The guy hadn't even finished one bottle of alcohol. The girl was screaming furiously at her friend. She was asking how it was possible to get drunk from 4 shots of soju. Cap Teption, without raising his head, began to mumble something. His girlfriend ordered him to get up. She explained that the bar was already closing. The guy muttered Sunza. He started talking to his absent ex, that when she left she could at least give him a kiss before leaving. The friend raised his head. Han Kyul shuddered involuntarily. She asked why he called her. She really did not want to see such a sight. Focusing his gaze on the girl, clouded by the drink, he recognized her as his passion. But his girlfriend convinced him that he was wrong. Cap Teption seemed not to hear her. He said that he had been waiting for her for so long. Suddenly, he stood up abruptly and began to stroke her head. Our heroine was seriously scared. She asked her friend to come to his senses. She said that her name was Han Kyul. The guy called her to be quiet. He asked her not to be shy and take off the hood. He assured her that it hid the face of his sweet Suzy. He offered to take it off. But the girl was against it and asked him to stop. And then in her heart she called him a moron. She was embarrassed that she had unwashed hair. But the friend liked her scent. Han Kyul asked him to come to his senses. The guy leaned over her and offered to kiss her. The heart started racing. Kang Tae-pyong insisted on a kiss. His girlfriend tried to persuade him to wake up. She didn't understand how such nonsense could be on a person's mind. The blonde tried to convey that her friend had confused her with his ex, but their lips were almost touching. The girl was getting ready for her first kiss. Instead, the friend threw up right into her hood. The janitor's mouth dropped open in surprise. Han Kyul was dragging the drunk big guy on her back. It was very hard for her. The girl was thinking about what she would do to him after he woke up. Finally, it became too much for her. The girl threw her friend off of her. He began to wake up. The drunk started saying that he needed to go to some eatery. He immediately got a kick from Han Kyul. The girl said she was going home. But then Kang Tae-pyong sobered up and began apologizing for half an hour. The brunette laid his head on Kyul's shoulder. He expressed his enormous gratitude to his friend for her support. The girl removed his head with displeasure. After all, she did not understand such tearful gratitude. Taepshin offered to buy her something to eat. The girl agreed only because she was really hungry. The blonde threatened her friend that next time she would tell his mother about something like this. The guy asked her to do anything but not do it. Soon they left the store. Kyul demanded compensation for the sweatshirt. The girl treasured the old thing. The friend creatively offered to take it. The guy in black walking in front of them suddenly dropped something from his pocket. The friends approached the thing. It was a Tamagotchi with a rabbit on top and the numbers 003. The blonde called out to the guy. But the stranger didn't turn around. Kyul put what she had found into her companion's pocket. He asked where the girl was reaching her hands. Even though he no longer had a girlfriend, the guy didn't allow himself to be pestered so easily. Our heroine thought that he was simply unbearable. Half an hour later, the blonde knocked on her friend's door. But no one answered. Calls to his phone were also ignored. But the door to the dwelling was open. Kyul entered. And there she saw Taepshin, naked to the waist. She immediately asked him why he was walking around like that. The guy replied that he was washing himself. The guest thought to herself that he had such a great abs. The girl said that her friend had scared her. Then Taepshin patted the blonde on the head in a friendly way. She thought that something bad might happen. She had to draw a line. They went out to eat ramen. The girl was drinking too much beer. The brunette asked about it. The blonde replied that she was also sad about her best friend's breakup, although she drank quite cheerfully. Kyul woke up on the floor. The girl's head was splitting from a hangover. She was drunk and passed out right on the floor. The girl was horrified by the number of empty bottles. But she couldn't believe that she had drunk so much the night before. For some reason, her pants were wet. And the Tamagotchi she had given to Taehoon was in her pocket, vibrating. Kyul didn't know why she wasn't wearing a sweater, or where her friend was. She looked back. She saw him on the other side of the table. The guy wasn't wearing a sweater either. Our heroine secretly hoped that she hadn't touched the guy under the influence of alcohol. The events are transferred to 4 years ago. 16-year-old Kang Tae-pyong and Han Kyul were sitting on a swing in the evening with ice cream in their hands. The guy told her that he had recently refused the head of their class. His friend was outraged. She didn't understand how he could refuse such a beauty. The friend replied that the person did not match his taste. Kyul said that if he refused her, the scoundrel would get a blow. She asked what his ideal was. Taepshin hesitated with his answer. The girl had time to think, would he really call her? It wasn't for nothing that he spent so much time with her. The brunette asked Kyul to move closer, then to give her hand. But instead of answering, the guy bit off her ice cream. The girl called her friend a fool and hit him on the hand. For some reason, she had hoped for something else. Finally, Taepshin answered. He said that his type was tall and crazy, with a beautiful soul. The blonde thought she was 158 centimeters tall. It was definitely not her. She asked where her friend was going to find a generous, beautiful girl. The guy said that there was one sitting next to him. Kyul exclaimed, "Is she really his type?" But the young man said that she was short. After that, he noticed that the girl was disappointed. The girl denied it. Then the guy patted her on the head and told her to grow up. Then his girlfriend would become his ideal. Our heroine tried, hung on the horizontal bar, did all sorts of stretching exercises. But she didn't grow as much as she wanted, and her friend found himself another girl. One day he asked in a message to congratulate him on the arrival of a girl. Kyul asked what was special about it, and added that he was sick. Soon a new girl from Taehyung's account asked the blonde to keep her distance. I wrote about the lack of friendship between the sexes. I asked to understand the situation. Kyul responded with a nodding smiley. When Kang Tae-pyong had girls, he and his girlfriend would stop talking. But they would start talking again right after they broke up. It was a clearly defined line. But today it was interrupted. Kyul, frightened, decided to leave her friend's apartment immediately. She got dressed. But the brunette lying on the floor grabbed her leg. She asked where she was going. They weren't done yet. Yesterday's food. Tae-pyong suggested having breakfast. After that, the friends got dressed and went outside. They didn't talk about what happened that night. Kyul couldn't leave it like that. She started talking about the drunken mistake. But she didn't have time to finish. Their mutual friend suddenly hugged her interlocutor from behind, appearing from somewhere. The 20-year-old white-haired Kim Jo-ha. It turned out that he overheard the conversation about the mistake while drunk. He started asking tricky questions. Kyul somehow got away with it. The blonde said he had thought of something else, as if they had finally done it while drunk. The girl said that she urgently had to go. Jo-ha invited the brunette to go with him to the cafe. The young man tried to get rid of his annoying friend. He wanted to talk to the girl, but she had already managed to run away. Later, lying on her bed at home, Kyul thought that she had almost allowed dirty rumors to spread. The girl did not understand how she had come to this, and she decided to give up alcohol. She tried in vain to remember the previous night. Memories of the girl undressing came to mind. I wondered if it was really her initiative that had caused this. Kyul wrote to a friend, with a question whether they had anything yesterday. The blonde decided to wait for an answer and take a break, but it was only 5 hours later that the message was read. The friend wrote that he had just put his phone on charge. The girl was about to call, but at that moment, Taepshin himself called his friend. He said that he was standing in front of her house. He asked her to come out and talk. Our heroine ran straight to him. She was even out of breath. The young man asked if someone was following her. I noticed her haste, and she was dressed rather coolly. Having caught her breath, the girl finally asked her question. Had they done it yesterday or not? Taepshin asked what it was. Then the girl asked directly what happened last night. The brunette said that his girlfriend blew up a balloon out of a condom and turned it into a dog. It was a lot of fun, but he asked her not to drink so much anymore and to have a good snack. The girl began to remember. She was glad that nothing of what came to her mind was there. Tae-hyun advised her to do something about her bangs. In his opinion, the hairstyle was preventing the girl from getting boyfriends. Soon the friends said goodbye until tomorrow. But for some reason, Kyul's heart was still beating faster. Did she really fall in love with? No. She was probably just going crazy from the lack of a relationship. And this guy made her so worried. Impossible. The girl mentally sent him away. The bastard didn't care. The blonde showed her middle finger to her friend as he walked away and quietly began cursing. She even wished to step in dog poop. Suddenly, the brunette stopped. Kyul was afraid that he could hear. It turned out that he had been called. The girl exhaled. When Tae-hyun came home, he discovered that his favorite sneakers were covered in dog poop. He thought with laughter who could have cursed him like that. And the sneakers needed to be washed. The guy thought about how it was done. At such moments, the young man sadly remembered his life with his mother. It just needed to be washed with something smelly. Taepshin managed to do it. He was proud of himself. Later, he decided to spend some time playing video games. Turning on the computer, the guy suddenly remembered Kyul. He decided to check on her. I saw that the girl had changed her profile photo. In it, my friend was bizarrely sticking out her lips. Taepshin decided to call. She didn't answer. Once, twice. The guy would have more fun playing with his girlfriend. Kyul was chatting to herself in her mind at this time. She didn't understand whether she had calmed down or not. She couldn't figure out if she still liked Taepshin. It was hard to figure out if he was a good guy or a bad guy. All of this was haunting. The blonde began to angrily beat her pillow with her fists, denying that she had any feelings for Taephin. Stopping, she thought that all her life she had only a friend by her side. She decided to check if she had feelings for him. I wanted to take his hand, to see if there would be a spark, and if reciprocity would follow. Kyul came to the university in the morning with thoughts about the spark. The girl entered the auditorium. There were 3 guys sitting at the desk, Taepshin, Yoha, and Dako. Without greeting, the girl took the brunette's hand. Friends asked in surprise what it meant, but Kyul did not feel the desired effect. Then she intertwined her fingers into a lock. At the same time, she looked spiritually into the guy's eyes. But the spark never appeared, so there was a mistake. Han Kyul hurriedly left the auditorium without comment. Taepshin calmly dismissed the suspicion. He said that their friend was simply unique. Kyul skipped along the corridor. The students stared. They didn't understand what was wrong with her. The girl went to school with a calm soul. The couple had exhausted the blonde. Besides, she felt hungry. She hadn't eaten anything since yesterday evening. The girl realized that she had no one to eat with. She didn't make friends, because she missed events. And after classes, she always went home. The next lesson was soon. The blonde did not have time to return home. She did not like to eat alone. And the only friend of the unfortunate woman was Kang Tae-hyung. The girl had already started typing a message to her friend. But then she stopped. It was impossible. They had only just met. She decided to eat herself. But the sight of the school cafeteria, where everyone was sitting in groups, upset Kyul. It was awkward. The same picture at the store. Crowded, everyone with company. The student decided to go hungry. Someone called out to her. Turning around, the girl saw her friend. He asked why she was standing there alone. He suggested going out for hot dogs. While he was finishing his sentence, the blonde disappeared somewhere. The surprised young man even thought he had imagined it. The student saw his girlfriend again near the university. He voiced a repeated offer to eat together. The girl pretended not to hear. Taepshin shouted that he was treating her. Then the white-haired girl stopped for a moment, but she didn't change her mind and started running. The athlete was amused. He ran after her. Having caught up with his girlfriend, the brunette grabbed her hand. He playfully asked if the blonde thought she wouldn't be able to keep up with her. The guy asked seriously what was the matter. Keel stammered that nothing of the sort. The friend lifted her up in his arms and announced that the offender was under arrest for attempting to escape. Students passing by were looking at the couple. The girl was struggling. The friend let her go on the condition that she would not run away again. Taepshin claimed that he knew what his friend was planning. The blonde didn't understand what he was talking about. The young man asked if she was going today. The girl asked where exactly. The brunette said that dinner with the guys from the stream was planned for today. Keel was not going to go. The guy didn't understand why. The girl had almost no friends anyway. The blonde replied that people go to university to study, not to hang out. Keel's only friends were him and Midji. They had been close since elementary school. The girl convincingly stated that she was fine with both. Taepshin promised to take care of his friend. She asked why, since she wasn't a child. On the day of the move, the guy promised his friend's father that he would protect the girl from bad company. The mother said that they were already adults, but the old man gave him money and still asked him to take care of his daughter. The guy promised to act as Keel's bodyguard. The girl's father said he would be happy with his daughter's choice. The blonde remembered that the guy was doing this for money and asked him not to hug her. People around him might think that they were dating. Taepshin assumed that this was exactly what his friend wanted. The blonde began to threaten to beat him up. The young man asked again if she would go to dinner with the stream. The girl again refused. The guy promised to introduce his girlfriend to 50 people, but she was not impressed. Finally, the friend said that if the girl did not come, he would drag her by force. Keel remained firm in her position. In the evening, the Faculty of Design held an open meeting with students, teachers, and clubs. A bald professor in sunglasses with a microphone in his hands gave an inspired speech. The teacher was applauded. The host announced that the professor would also treat those present to 10 pizzas. After that, the applause was heard again. Keel was present. She clapped along with everyone else, but she was bored and uncomfortable. Everyone around had only recently met, but they were already in full swing communicating. Taepshin wasn't next to her. The guy was delivering food. The blonde thought it was strange to be so active everywhere. Their eyes met. The friend winked at her. Then he came up to her. He asked why the girl was sitting alone. Keel answered irritably that that was why she didn't want to go. The young man brought his girlfriend an egg roll. He thought she would like it. The brunette asked the girl to eat for now. Yoha and Dako were supposed to come soon too. Keel said that these were not her friends. The guy replied that without her he would not find anything to talk about with the guys. Taepshin was called. He reminded his friend about the promise of 50 friends. With shining eyes, he told her to believe in him, and he walked away from his friend's table. The blonde with tears in her eyes wanted to kill this idiot. After all, he left her alone at the table. The girl hated such awkward situations. Looking around nervously, the quiet girl couldn't understand how people communicated, how they started a dialogue with strangers. The long-haired guy in a cap noticed the lost blonde. He sat down next to the girl. He asked why the new girl was sitting at the table all alone. The girl was completely confused. She was silent. The long-haired man said hello. Keel was about to leave, but she responded to the greeting, stumbling. The guy mimicked her. The long-haired guy began to good-naturedly ask if the girl wanted to run away. The blonde awkwardly denied. But the young man understood that he had caught her. They were noticed by Taepshin. The guy decided to make sure everything was okay with his girlfriend. He assumed that the girl really was talking to a stranger. After all, he knew that from early childhood it was difficult for his friend to get close to people. The girl was disliked by her peers. But even after years, Keel did not establish contact with people. A brunette once asked her why she always plays on the computer. She doesn't go out with her girlfriends like others. The girl answered that she felt more comfortable spending time alone. Her interests did not coincide with her friends. They did not watch anime or play games. The young man then suggested that the reason was her character. The girl almost hit him, furiously denying it. Watching the couple from behind, Taepshin thought that the girl's mood had finally changed. But he hadn't really changed. She was still incredibly awkward. Keel didn't understand what this guy was interested in. What should she say? The long-haired man asked her name. The blonde introduced herself. The young man said that the name was beautiful. He himself called himself Tesu. The new acquaintance pointed to the number on the sleeve of his jacket. 20. This meant that the guy had enrolled 4 years ago. He was an old man. Kyul thought there would be only freshmen. The young man called the girl a cutie. She winced a little. He offered her a drink. She didn't refuse. Tesu began to teach her the etiquette of pouring alcohol for elders. It was necessary to cover the label. Do not touch the glass with the neck of the bottle. And when drinking, you must turn your head to the left. The new acquaintance said that the girl would still thank him for the acquired skills. The blonde smiled sweetly, and she thought to herself that she would not forgive Tepchen for dragging her here. But who else would have spoken to her first? Therefore, it was possible to listen to this senior student. Tesu asked how many people the girl had met. The blonde answered shyly, "No." The guy said that such a cutie must have made a lot of acquaintances. He added that she was obliged to give him her number. He asked if she had a boyfriend. The girl asked again, looking into the eyes of her new acquaintance. Was this that very spark? Taepchen approached his friends on the street. Some of his friends were smoking, others were just standing. The guy said that the same senior student came, the one who also showed up last year. And then one of the girls had problems. He had already found a new lonely victim. Taepchen asked again who it was. They pointed him to Kyul's table, at which that same Don Juan was sitting with his girlfriend. The blonde's face expressed childish trepidation. She listened to her suitor very animatedly. His friends advised him not to interfere, but the boy rushed to help his precious childhood friend. It was surprising, but when Kyul got into difficult situations, he couldn't control himself. Once upon a time, a guy was indignant that his girlfriend couldn't put some classmate in his place, that he was rudely hitting on her. The senior student sang to Kyul that they exchanged phone numbers for a reason, and the new girl could always turn to him with questions. The guy bragged that he was an excellent student. He advised people to contact him if they needed a good mark from some professor. He kept chatting and the girl nodded. The blonde no longer understood why he was still listening, and why he was not stopping this verbal flow. She wanted to run away, home, or to an internet cafe. The girl decided to say abruptly that she had things to do, and say goodbye. She stood up, but the new acquaintance grabbed her by the bag, asked to show her what was in there, since she was holding on to the thing like that. Kyul was dumbfounded. The guy said that he could still tell a lot of interesting and useful things about student life. The freshman didn't like that weirdo clinging to her bag. She told him to let go. The long-haired guy kept insisting that she sit down again. Then Kang Tae-hyung came up and hugged his friend. The blonde was grateful to tears for her friend's appearance. He arrived just in time. The disgruntled senior asked if they were in a relationship. Tae-hyun told the clingy guy that he was in the wrong place. He pointed out that the seniors were sitting further away, and he began literally pushing the long-haired guy away. Jokingly, he told him that resistance could cause pain, and he really led the obsessive suitor away from his girlfriend. Cole realized that this was her chance to escape. She decided to go to an internet cafe, order noodles with chicken legs and grapes. Taepchen told his friend to freeze and stop. He noticed that he had saved her from a rather difficult situation. He smugly asked his girlfriend what she would do without him. She replied that she would live just fine. After all, he was the one who dragged her here. The brunette still insisted that she stay and make normal acquaintances, introduced her to a group of girls, sitting at the same table. It became even more difficult. The blonde could simply nod to Tess's tirade. What to do now was absolutely unclear. No one spoke to her. Everyone was silent. She asked the girls for permission to go to the toilet. None of them responded. Sitting in the booth, Kyul started Googling how to make friends. The search engine advised her to try to relax and dare to start a conversation. This didn't help much. Then she read the advice. Keep the conversation going on a topic of interest. For example, something fashionable now. Returning to the table, Kyul began babbling about all sorts of nonsense. She asked if the girls had eaten various popular foods. She invited them to eat at all sorts of places. The blonde was clearly embarrassed. The situation was saved by Taepchen, who had just arrived. After the evening, in the company of freshmen, everyone was asking each other who had met whom. In the end, everything turned out better than Kyul imagined. Now there should be no misunderstandings when meeting with his friends' acquaintances. The students were sorting out who was going the same way. The blonde asked if anyone needed to go in her and Taepchen's direction. There were none. The childhood friends went together. Again, it looks like they are dating. Cole didn't like the idea of them being alone again. She wondered if it was because of the brunette that she had no friends. The girl told her friend to go first, and she would stay here for another half-hour. The guy started to whine that he was afraid that girls would follow him. The blonde didn't understand why he was doing this. Dako said that the couple was making up an alibi. Yoha agreed because it looked like it. The girl offered to go with them if they had any bad suspicions. Dako refused under the pretext that today was his leg day at the gym. Yoha was supposed to pump up his arms today. The blonde didn't understand what they were talking about. One of the girls, Sue, said that the childhood friends looked like such a cute couple. They both pretended to throw up. Taepshin said that they couldn't date because he had too good taste. She agreed. She remembered that the brunette was popular and handsome too. Cole took it as an insult, as if she wasn't pretty enough. Sue apologized to her, said that was not what she meant. Everyone started to gather. The blonde didn't want to be alone with her friend. Dako gestured, watching the couple. The girl commented that he was sick. They were walking down the street with a friend. It was so noisy in the new company. And now it was quiet. For some reason, Taepshin was silent. The blonde thought it was because they were being joked about. He was probably thinking about it too. The girl turned to her friend. He didn't answer. The blonde spoke seriously, suggested that they keep their distance, because the guy could be irritated by jokes and suspicions. I assumed that the last scene spoiled his mood. She said that she herself was fine, but he... For some reason, the brunette was silent. Kyul already regretted starting the conversation. Then the girl noticed that her friend was wearing headphones. She couldn't believe that she could put on headphones while walking next to someone she knew. The blonde once again created the drama herself. She was always worried. This damn suspiciousness accompanied the girl her whole life. Kyul screamed loudly and ripped the earphone out of the guy's ear. She said how rude it was on his part. The friend justified himself by saying that he had introduced her to his classmates today. And the ungrateful girl repaid him with such treatment. Then the guy looked at her, asked why his girlfriend's face was so red, inquired if the girl had a fever, put his hand to her forehead, asked to be careful with alcohol, said he was worried. The girl tore her head away, started shouting, demanding that she stop touching her. She thought to herself that this bastard was the reason for her temperature rising, and the fact that she blushed so often. The brunette thought that his girlfriend was mad again. The girl aggressively demanded that he not come closer than 3 meters to her, and don't touch her. She said she would take care of herself. The rumors had worn her out. Taepshin said he understood what she meant, but they had known each other for a long time. A friend recalled that the father was worried about his daughter along with him. Kyul emphasized that she was no longer a little girl. For some reason, the guy suddenly remembered how in high school his girlfriend didn't go to school. The girl was embarrassed. She said it wasn't because of him. Kyul denied that the situation bothered her. She demanded that he stop taking care of her. The brunette stuttered. How could he His friend interrupted him. She screamed and shook her head angrily, repeating the same thing over and over, demanding that it stop. Taepshin reasoned that it was actually good to have an understanding and caring friend. The blonde didn't want to hear it. She demanded that he not call or write anymore, until she contacted her friend herself. She said that she would go first, without him, and she walked away. The brunette was puzzled by such a reaction. It seemed unfair that you only had to show a little bit of care and people were ready to devour you. In any case, she was unique. The guy no longer wanted to save his girlfriend, even if she got drunk. Kyul, still in an irritated mood, lay on the bed. She thought it would only be better this way. From now on, she would stay away from her boyfriend. Then no one will decide that they are in a relationship. And she herself will not make up all sorts of things. Taepyeon just updated his profile picture. He was standing on the court in a t-shirt with a basketball. The girl couldn't get out of her head why her friend remembered that incident from high school. He definitely had nothing to do with it. Well, let him just try writing tomorrow. In the morning, Kyul was awakened by a phone call. The girl sleepily wondered who was restless on a day off. It was Mom. She asked how her daughter hadn't gotten up at such an hour. The blonde reminded her that it was a day off. She asked Mom about the store. The woman replied that weekends were no different from weekdays for her. She said that she had sent her daughter side dishes and marinated crab. She warned that everything had to be put in the refrigerator. Kyul couldn't believe that her favorite crab was coming. She warmly thanked her beloved mommy. She immediately jumped up happily and ran to prepare rice for the dish. Mom warned the girl not to eat alone. She sent a crab for Taepchin too. The blonde twitched. She muttered that everything had to be sent separately. Mom knew that her friend lived in the house across the street, so there was no need to send it separately. She told her daughter to go and get it for him herself. The girl said she didn't want it. Mom told Taepshin to send her a photo of the crab in his refrigerator. The daughter was indignant when she started working in the delivery service. Mom ordered to do it quickly. The girl was thinking about how to deliver the crab. She didn't want to write. She decided to fulfill her mother's request one last time. I assumed that the Klutz would still be asleep on the weekend, so I decided to sneak up to him and put the crab in the fridge, then quietly leave. Kyul couldn't eat it all by herself. Her conscience wouldn't let her. Maybe because her friend said how much he liked the food her mother cooked. The parents often left the boy at home alone. They were so busy at work that they could not take him to the amusement park. The brother and sister were studying. The child went to see his best friend every day. Taepyeong was always unhappy when visiting his neighbors, but his mood improved when he ate his friend's mother's cooking. The boy always asked for seconds. One rainy day, the friends were left alone at Kyul's. The friend's mood did not improve. Then the girl treated him to her mother's crab with rice for the first time. It was divinely delicious. After that, the friends stuffed their bellies with it. When Kyul's parents returned home, they found 2 empty crab bowls. The kids ate so much food together, and they looked at the adults with guilty eyes. They explained that it was an expensive delicacy, but they said that they would definitely treat the neighbor boy to some more. Apparently that moment was a very touching memory for Taepyeong. Perhaps the girl's mother's side dishes were able to brighten up his lonely childhood. No one answered the intercom. The brunette was probably asleep, as Kyul had assumed. Opening the door, the girl saw pitch darkness. It didn't look like morning had come to Taepshin's apartment. He hated sunlight, and probably bought thick curtains. In complete darkness, the blonde literally crawled to the refrigerator. Inside, it was empty like a bachelor's. Taepshin woke up. Because of the laser vision correction, he could not see well in his sleep. But he clearly saw that someone was rummaging through his new refrigerator. He thought it was a thief. The guy took the dumbbell. He approached the offered thief from behind and shouted, asking who it was. To his surprise, he saw Han Kyul, his best friend. He asked her what she was doing there. The blonde screamed at him to get dressed. She reminded him of what she had talked about recently. The guy realized that he was standing in his underwear. He began to frantically pull up his shorts, saying that he was actually at home. And it was the girl who burst in on him. After she herself had screamed at the top of her lungs not to call or write, the guy told the girl to turn away. She replied that she didn't want to look. Finally, Taepshin turned on the light. The blonde replied that she had not come of her own free will, but because of the crab that her mother had told her to take to her friend. The girl completed the task. She was about to leave. The brunette asked her not to be so heartless. He offered to stay and share the crab with him. He said he would be lonely eating alone. Cole repeated that yesterday was the last day they communicated so closely. The friend asked if this was the end of their relationship. The blonde didn't like this phrase. The girl thought he was deliberately making fun of her. The brunette smiled good-naturedly, revealing his snow-white teeth. The girl said that if her friend continued, they would even stop playing together. After making new friends, he should be finished. The guy reminded her how her friend was afraid to go to university. Then Taepshin suggested that they enroll together. The girl asked if this was really why her friend had enrolled here. The brunette said that the girl could go and make friends. But first he suggested doing something. What they had to do. Kyul was horrified, not knowing what he was talking about. The friends were standing on the street. Kyul was wearing a sweatshirt with the words "lonely" written on it. The friend promised to buy her something to replace the damaged one. The girl was indignant that they would be suspected anyway. She didn't want to come closer than 3 meters to Taepshin. The brunette still violated her personal space, taking her by the hands along with him. One of the students noticed their fuss and took a photo in which it seemed as if they were holding hands like a loving couple. The boy remembered that they denied their relationship. He thought that this would be great news at the university. An orange McLaren quickly drove up to the couple. It stopped. Kyul said, fascinated, that the car had a simply stunning body. The brunette was surprised how she could understand cars. The girl replied that she had previously dreamed of becoming a car designer, and now she regretted that she would die without having saved up for such a car. Taepshin encouraged her. He assured her that she needed to dream bigger. The blonde shook her head. If the dream is big, then the disappointment will be the same. The young man condescendingly told the girl to get her license first. This was supposed to be the first step towards her dream. She wondered who could drive such cars. A young man with hair dyed a bluish-violet color got out of the car, and an earring in his ear. Coyle exclaimed that it was an elf. Perhaps it was a celebrity. The brunette wondered if she really liked people like that. The girl replied that he was handsome. A friend noticed that the guy looked more like a gangster. He suggested going where they were going, but he came face to face with a stranger. The two boys stood and looked into each other's eyes. You could feel the tension growing. Kuhl began to tremble. It seemed to her that a fight was about to start. The blonde didn't understand why they couldn't just move away from each other. The young men were pushed aside by a grumbling old woman. The old woman couldn't get past them. Finally, the duelists walked away from each other. Kuhl asked if the brunette was really going to fight a stranger. Taepchen denied it. The weirdo just blocked his way. The girl looked back at the stranger leaving. She wondered what he was doing. They went to a clothing store. The cashier called the friends a very cute couple. She assumed that they came to buy matching outfits. Kuhl replied that they were not a couple at all. The saleswoman said that everyone says that, and that her husband was also a friend at first, and now she has 3 children from him. The woman continued to ask questions about their relationship. The friends hurried to take the purchase, and quickly got out of the ill-fated store. Along the way, they promised not to come there again. Kuhl finally got a hoodie. This made up for the incident with the annoying cashier. Despite her bad mood, the blonde felt like she was winning. She decided to go to bed early, and tomorrow to invite the guys from the university to the canteen. In the morning, Kuhl spent her money on coffee. She discovered that she had 2 weeks until her next allowance, and that her account was low. She had to hold out somehow. The mood was upbeat, although she was a little worried. The girl ran to the university. The classmate sitting in front of her immediately asked if she was dating Kang Tae-pyong. The blonde didn't understand what he was talking about. Then the student showed a photo from their date yesterday. It looked like the couple was holding hands. Kuhl said they just went to buy her a sweatshirt. The guy didn't understand why they would buy a sweatshirt if the couple weren't dating. The blonde waved it off. It took a long time to explain everything, and the dark-haired classmate asked if it looked like a flirtatious gesture. The students immediately began to argue. Someone took Kuhl's side, and the brunette supported the version about the couple's relationship. Suddenly, Taepchen himself appeared near her desk. The gossip girl became nervous. The student who showed the photo handed the phone to the hero of the story. He claimed that Mingi sent him a photo. The brunette commented that the guys were making a fuss for no reason over a photo of him buying a sweatshirt for his childhood friend. And he asked to pass the image to the author so that he could ask personally if he had any questions, and not take pictures on the sly. He immediately deleted the photo on the guy's phone, and threatened consequences for the photographer if this happened again. Kuhl saw that her friend was quite angry, but sitting down at the desk, the guy smiled, turned his head towards her, asked if he had done well. The girl was confused. She said that it had been not bad. During the break, Kuhl couldn't wait for classes to end. In the hallway, she saw her friend again. He was standing by the drink machine. The blonde approached him. She asked him what he was doing. The guy silently handed her the drink and asked her to forgive him. Kuhl didn't understand why he was asking for forgiveness so suddenly, because this could be misunderstood again. The girl said that he was a handsome man and that she was a victim. Therefore, only she would fly, but she decided to drink it anyway. The friends had known each other for 20 years. Nothing had changed. Taepchen still understood when she wanted to drink. The girl said she would be kind to him for this act. The brunette called her strange. Now she gets angry. Now she suddenly becomes so good-natured. The guy promised to be more careful, so as not to harm her. Then they would not have to end their long-standing friendship. He stroked the blonde's head tenderly. Kuhl was indignant that he himself had only spoken of such things. The friend began at length that her charm was in her kindness, but she herself does not understand what this could lead to. Others did not notice this charm, but Taepchen liked it. The girl didn't understand what he was talking about. The idiot was talking nonsense again. The gossip girl from the group noticed the couple together. The student decided to hold back from taking photos and talking. But she thought the blonde was a really funny girl. She decided to see where it would lead. The lectures were over. The guys decided to go to a cafe. The gossip asked Kuhl for forgiveness for what had happened recently. The girl replied that it was nothing to worry about. Everything was resolved. Then the brunette asked if she wasn't dating Taepyeon, and if she wanted to meet someone. Dating was a burden for Kuhl. After all, she always thought to herself that she was not beautiful enough. The brunette replied that the girl didn't look so bad. She just didn't know much about clothes. She just needed to buy something cute. Kyul agreed. The gossip girl asked if the blonde had had double eyelid surgery. The girl shook her head. The interlocutor noted that her eyes looked quite large. As if she did. The brunette said that people become prettier in relationships, but for Kyul it was still burdensome. The friend assured me that they could just chat. If they didn't like it, they didn't have to exchange contacts. It was a good way to distance myself from Tae-pyong. Better to try once than to regret 100 times. Kyul, of course, wanted to date someone, but for everything to happen naturally. She thanked Kiju for the offer, said she would definitely think about it. The brunette did not calm down. She tried to insist. The other girl said that it was not necessary, since Kalul did not want to. Then the gossip made the blonde promise to say what she thought. She agreed. Taepchen showed up at the cafe. Yoha and Dako were waiting for him there. The guy asked how much they had already drunk. They replied that only 1 bottle. They were waiting for him. The brunette noticed that the guys were too energetic for such a quantity of alcohol. He came from training. Tired. Yoha immediately asked about the photo. The brunette again said that it was just a purchase of clothes. The bespectacled man pointed out that the couple were walking arm in arm. Taepchen corrected himself by grabbing the girl's wrist. Dako noted with irony that everyone does it, and there is nothing wrong with that. Yoha assured that Kyul's situation was quite difficult, to which the brunette asked if he had any girlfriends. The bespectacled man replied that of course there was. But with him and the blonde, things were much more ambiguous. Yoha did not hold hands with the girls. The brunette said he was worried about Kyul. He couldn't tell you how much they had been through with her since childhood. A friend asked him if he had feelings for the blonde. The guy said no. If he did, they would have been dating a long time ago. He was all for his girlfriend finding herself a good guy. The bespectacled man called the brunette a selfish idiot, accused the athlete that because of him Kyul doesn't have a boyfriend. Taepyeon denied it, said that he doesn't stop anyone from laying claim to her. Then Yoha said that he would like to try it himself. The brunette said please. The bespectacled man didn't stop there. He expressed his reluctance regarding Taepchen being near their mutual friend. The young man didn't want the girl to have such a friend. He asked him to stay away. Taepchen replied that of course he agreed. Because of the idiot in glasses, the brunette couldn't eat. And when he returned home late, he felt hungry, and he decided to go to the store. Out of habit, he wanted to go with his girlfriend. He almost called, but he stopped himself. He needed to keep his distance. He decided to go alone. Kyul was just leaving the store, and not alone, with someone she knew. The brunette took a closer look. Next to her was Natesu. Seeing the guy, the girlfriend asked him with a smile what he came to buy. The long-haired man remembered the freshman from the recent evening. He didn't seem to hold a grudge. Tesu had a good relationship with the professor, with whom he introduced the blonde. Now she didn't have to worry about grades. The guy shared that Taepchen was the most popular with girls this year. He noticed that many first-year girls only talked about him. Koil introduced him to her friend. The senior asked if they were close. The girl said they had known each other for 20 years. And she had only been that long. The blonde, with a smile on her face, bragged to her friend that Tesu had bought her chocolate milk at the store. She was so grateful. She noted that the seniors were different. Taepyeon thought that his friend was still very naive. If he doesn't understand what this game of a good guy leads to. But the girl was happy even with such trifles. And Tesu modestly replied that anyone would do the same. Taepyeon put his hand to his forehead. It looked like mockery. The long-haired guy assumed that since they had known each other for a long time, the meeting... Taepyeon interrupted him abruptly. He shouted that it was not so. The senior asked why he was shouting like that. The guy apologized. He sent the long-haired guy away again. Kale asked why he did that. Her friend replied that she should have been taught not to accept gifts from strangers. The blonde replied that she knew him. Taepyeon turned away. He told her to go home already. The girl asked why. They lived in the same block. They could have walked together. The brunette reminded that it could have been misunderstood. But the friend said that they had just met by chance. This time, it was possible. The thought that Kyul was beautiful crept into the guy's head. He didn't like it. He wanted to throw it out of his head. The girl asked him what was wrong. The brunette thought that the problem was in the tied-up hair. The girlfriend turned to him again. The guy told her to wear her hair down. He said that the girl didn't look very good anyway. And with such a hairdo even more so. He took off the elastic, tousled her hair, suggested that she cover her face with it so as not to scare people away. Then he zipped up his jacket, so that she wouldn't catch a cold. He said rudely that she needed to dress properly. The girl didn't understand what it was. She said that everyone walks like that now. She considered herself a progressive girl. While she was talking, her friend wasn't listening. He went into the store. Near the display case, Kyul asked what her friend would take. She started offering him various goodies. The guy was irritated by this. The blonde asked him not to look at her like that. She was walking around with milk that the senior student had bought. Taepshin said not to drink. Asked to give the product to him. The girl did not understand why. She was going to use it. She said it was a gift. The brunette asked again. A gift then? A few minutes later, the girl was standing at the checkout with 6 bags of milk. Taepshin said to drink what he buys. And he took the milk carton from Na Tae-soo. He opened it and started drinking. The girl asked why he drank. The brunette threw the bag in the trash and told her not to talk to the long-haired guy. They went home. Kyul said he would play at home. She started to tie up her hair. A friend advised to go to bed. The blonde suggested playing together. Taepshin didn't understand what kind of feeling it was. She was just suggesting to play together. Previously, there were no such feelings for a friend. Because of her hair, the friend looked different than usual. The guy started touching the blonde's hair. She asked him what he was doing. Taepshin came to his senses and reminded her that he had told her not to get her hair tangled. Cole yelled that he probably wanted to die. She didn't understand what was wrong with him. She felt sorry for this weirdo's future girlfriend. The brunette came home. For some reason, he was hot. He decided to take a shower. For some reason, he kept thinking about his girlfriend, remembering how she looked today, how she looked at him. The guy's heart started beating. In the morning, Kyul recalled the words about choosing clothes. She sorted through her wardrobe. I wondered if she really dressed that badly. Our heroine only had white and black clothes. Decided to buy some things. Then she found the dress that Midge gave her. Decided to wear it today. The feeling was awkward. The dress was just above the knees. The wind was raging outside, and Kyul was embarrassed by the way it rode up. It was the first time the girl had worn such clothes. Taepshin, Dako, and Joha were walking towards her. The blonde greeted them. The newly minted fashionista shyly returned the greeting. The guy asked if she was going somewhere today, looking so beautiful. Kyul answered that her friend was embarrassing her. Taep Hyung made a sarcastic comment that if you draw stripes on a pumpkin, it will turn into a watermelon. Cole didn't understand why he was still acting like this after yesterday. Still wanted to piss her off. The girl showed her middle finger to her friend. She indicated that she was considered beautiful. The blonde corrected her that the girl was always beautiful. And today she was even better. It was the first time she had heard something like that. She didn't know how to answer. She hesitated and said thank you. They parted. Joha asked the brunette to tell him honestly. Did he agree that his girlfriend was charming? The guy spoke unevenly, as if he didn't understand what he saw in her. The blonde said that this guy was pretending. He saw the expression on his friend's face. Dako confirmed. He suggested his friend confess everything. The brunette told the guys to back off. The lectures were over. Kyul was packing her things. She thought that she had made a bad schedule. She would have to go to most of the lectures herself. But some coincided with Kang Tae-pyong. The girl went to the restroom. Today she received compliments all day. She didn't even want to go home. She decided to dress like this more often. Here her dress was caught in the door. A piece of fabric was torn out. A huge hole gaped just below her back. Kyul remained standing pressed against the door. She wrote to everyone asking for help. No one responded for an hour. The blonde decided to cover herself with her bag and run home. The journey took only 10 minutes. She gathered her courage. The weather service issued a storm warning today. There was a terrible wind outside. The girl didn't know whether to go or go back. It occurred to her to call Taepshin, but it was awkward for that reason. It felt like everyone was looking at her now. That's all they had been paying attention to today. And now she was standing there strangely, clutching her bag to her back. Taepshin called himself. At that time, some girl offered him to go to a bar, but the brunette did not pay attention, dialing the number. Kyul asked where he was. The brunette said that he was in the club room. The friend babbled that she didn't want to call for such a reason. She couldn't explain what had happened. The girl burst into tears. A friend heard her sobbing through the phone. He asked what had happened. The blonde whined and asked to be taken away, asking for forgiveness. The unfortunate woman had no one else to turn to. Taepshin told her not to even think about apologizing. They were friends after all. He asked her not to cry but to wait calmly. He promised to come to her right away. Taepchen left his company. The girl who invited him to the bar said that she wasted her time on the brunette. But he had an urgent matter. Cole wasn't the type of person to call just like that. Maybe it was that day in high school again. She pretends everything is fine, but she still feels bad about that incident. The guy remembered that he didn't tell her about his feelings then. He thought it would only make things worse, and he didn't come to his friend's aid. And if he had acted differently then, it was all his fault. He couldn't be late this time. Taepchen saw his girlfriend. She was standing pressed against the wall. He asked how she was. Was it because of that? The blonde answered that it wasn't that. When the boy heard what had happened, he laughed. He called it a mere trifle. A friend asked for his jacket. The brunette wrapped it around the girl's waist. He asked what Kyul would do without him. Because of the opinions of others, they tried to stay away from each other. But nothing worked out. They decided to continue as before. Taepchen stared at the girl. It was nice to look into her eyes. And he asked himself why he hadn't noticed before that his friend was like that. She asked what was wrong. The guy said not to smile like that or he'll fall in love. Kyul twitched. It was drizzling outside. They didn't have an umbrella. They decided to run home. Taepchen said it would be romantic. The friends were out of breath when they got there. The rain had just stopped. Kyul offered to give her friend his jacket back, but her friend insisted that she wear it home. The blonde asked why he was so red. The guy sneezed loudly. He must have gotten sick. At home, Kyul was looking for something on the top shelf. In the process, she accidentally cut her finger. Soon she finally found her mother's cold medicine. There was a sticker with instructions written on it, and also a note to share this remedy with Taepchen. Our heroine also decided to buy ramen and bandages, and visit the patient, repay him for the service. In the evening, a smiling blonde with a bag stood at Taepchen's door. The girl reminded him that her mother always gave them this medicine when they were children. The owner of the apartment sat wrapped in a blanket. Carrying glasses of hot drinks, Kyul frivolously told how she had seen an elf from McLaren in the store. The inattentive blonde fell, spilling the contents of the glasses on the floor. She landed right on Taepchen. While on top of her friend, Kyul thought that some parts of his body were larger than they appeared. The couple froze in this position, then abruptly changed it. Both friends felt extremely awkward. The blonde quickly said that she would clean everything up. The owner of the apartment said to leave it. The girl continued to tell how she saw the elf from McLaren in the store. Literally ran into him. In the same way, she dropped the things she was carrying. The stranger helped him up. The student saw that his hand was bleeding. The rich man said coldly that everything was fine. But there was also some blood on his face. Kyul thought, what kind of person is he? She advised him to go to the hospital, and left. It was a fascinating story for the girl. But Taepchen didn't understand what was so interesting about it. The blonde with sparkling eyes said that the stranger was handsome, as if his appearance was healing. The friend got irritated. He said he wasn't interested in hearing about such things. But he asked for her hand. The guy covered the girl's injured finger with a bandage. Kyul continued to babble about the handsome stranger, wondering what could have happened to him. She hoped she would see him again. Maybe he lived nearby. The brunette shook her by the shoulders. Covered with Kyul's plasters on his face and hand, the mysterious stranger was driving his McLaren. He thought that this girl was an interesting person. Kyul saw that a new horror movie had come out on a streaming service. She suggested they watch it while they ate. He and his friend had similar tastes in games, manhwa, and movies. They both loved horror movies. The girl was scared, but she assured that she was not afraid, although she herself tried to hide her face under the blanket that her friend was wrapped in. The movie ended. Kyul said it was boring at first, but the ending was just amazing. But her friend was dozing on her shoulder. The blonde didn't even notice how he fell asleep. This was the first time something like this had happened. His head was quite heavy. Taepchen changed. The girl noticed how big his hands were, and the guy himself became bigger. Kyul was turning to her friend, trying to wake him up. His head was so close that the girl could hear her friend's breathing. She was confused. He must have fallen asleep so soundly because of the temperature. I put my finger on his forehead. My friend was just burning up. The girl laid him down, made a cooling compress on his forehead. It was the first time she had seen her friend hurt so much, and it was because of her. Got wet in the rain without a jacket. The girl was going to get some medicine. Taepchen opened his eyes. Before, the guy would have just told her to leave. But these last few days, everything had been pretty weird. The brunette thought that he no longer saw Cool as a friend. He asked her not to leave, just to be with him. He carefully touched her fingertips. Cole wondered why her friend was holding her hand so tightly. The girl told him to let go. She was going to go get some medicine. After all, she needed to bring down the fever. But instead, the brunette pulled her towards himself. The girl asked him what he was doing. She collapsed. A second later, she was lying on her friend again. Tae-pyong asked to stay like this for a while. The girl noted that his voice sounded lower than usual. It was not the usual indifferent tone. The blonde asked him what he was doing. A stream of sweet thoughts rushed through the guy's head. He wanted to hug his girlfriend even tighter. But after that, he could do something stupid to her. The brunette quickly pushed his girlfriend away and told her to go home. It was already late. He said that boys and girls shouldn't sleep together from the age of 7. Taepshin literally threw his girlfriend out, slamming the door behind her. It was dangerous. The brunette was glad he had managed to restrain himself. His heartbeat was simply off the charts. On the street, Cool was indignant at such unceremonious treatment of herself. But her friend's behavior had been strange even before. Could it be that the boy and girl were in their apartments thinking about what had happened and what they had felt during it? A spark or even more. The professor announced a project competition to the students. He linked participation with an exam. Therefore, the competition was mandatory. The teacher said that it was more convenient to work in 4 people. So he suggested that the audience split into teams. Everyone started to sort themselves out. Kyul didn't know who to be with. A friend didn't come today because he was sick. Serves him right. No point in refusing his medicine. Joha touched the blonde on the shoulder. He offered to join their team. The girl agreed. She asked who the other 2 were. They turned out to be Dako and Taepshin, who came after classes. Shaitan said that he is available at any time except for training. The patient noted that he was constantly in the gym, except for breaks for sleep, food, and exercise. He said that he should have entered the physical education department, because he was not interested in anything else. The athlete shrugged. Coyle asked not to quarrel, so as not to fail the project. Yoha started talking to her that he was waiting for the opportunity to get to know each other better more than the competition, and because of this he was excited. The girl asked with a smile why he spoke like that. The guy answered that it was because she was so beautiful. The blonde was embarrassed. She asked him not to joke like that. The guy assured her that it was not a joke. Cole blushed, said she needed to put foundation on her face. The blonde cooed that she looked even prettier that way. The girl asked him to stop. She walked away. Taepyeon clutched the glass of drink in anger. The guy called himself a fool for telling his friend to try. At that time, he was sincerely not against it. After all, there were no feelings yet. But now everything has changed. He will have to stop him. While behaving naturally, Joha suggested creating a group chat. The girl saved his number. The blonde said that her avatar was beautiful too. Kyul was very shy when she heard compliments addressed to her. The brunette said that the picture was photoshopped. Joka tried to convince her not to listen to him, and he said that in life she was much better. Tiefin literally twisted. Dako asked what was wrong with him. The first group lesson was held in the evening in a cafe. Yoha suggested getting some drinks. The brunette commented that Cool could drink 3 bottles. The girl bashfully said not to listen to him. The blonde agreed with this. It was 1-0 in his favor. They decided to drink to the success of the competition. Kyul remembered her friend's illness. She asked him not to drink. She told him to give her his glass. Yoha was surprised that she was so worried about her friend. The girl said that she had known him all her life. 1-1. Kyul didn't eat dry meat. Her friend knew that. But today she decided to try what the blonde had suggested. 2-1 in his favor. The girl asked Daka why he trained so hard. The guy said that he had been chubby since childhood. He started losing weight and got involved in sports. Kyul didn't think he would answer in such detail. She said she would go to the toilet. The blonde and the brunette kindly answered that they would wait. Noticing something was wrong, the girl told them not to fight during this time. When she left, Yoha grabbed his friend by the collar. He reminded her that he had promised not to interfere. The brunette said that he was simply protecting her as a friend. Joha told him to calm down or leave. The boys started pulling each other's clothes. In the toilet, Kyul accidentally bumped into a strange girl. The stranger was looking at her phone and did not see where she was going. Our heroine apologized. The girl dropped her phone. It broke. She demanded compensation for the damage. It was the latest model. Kyul said that she herself was not looking forward. The stranger said that she was the one who apologized first, so she considers herself guilty. It was a bad habit of Kyul to constantly apologize. She did it out of politeness. A seemingly rich fat guy approached the stranger. He asked his lady what had happened. She replied that the girl had broken her phone and tried to run away. Kyul attempted to tell what had happened, but the big guy interrupted her. He asked his passion to step aside. He said that educated people do not act like that, and he began to demand money. Cole replied that she would not return anything, and turned to the exit. The brunette screamed at her boyfriend to do something. The blonde already thought that she had shown herself from a strong side, and the situation seemed resolved. But the big guy grabbed her by the hair and said, "Where is she going?" Even his companion gasped. Kyul demanded to be let go. The man said he would let her go after returning the money. The girl didn't know what to do. Taepshin said that his friend must have fallen into the toilet. She should have returned by now. Joha, chewing, said that something urgent could happen. But the brunette noted the location of the toilet outside, which could be dangerous. Kyul cursed her life, with the troubles that constantly rained down on her. The man said that you should have listened when he spoke politely. Even the brunette began to ask him to let go, and Kyul threatened the police. The rich kid said something like, "You have to bring these girls to their senses." But immediately after that, he flew back to the wall, having received a punch in the stomach. With this gesture, Kang Taepyeong appeared. He told his girlfriend that he was worried because she had not returned for a long time. He said to call him in such a situation. A tear rolled down the girl's cheek. She thought she could solve everything herself. The big guy stood up. He asked what this puppy was doing. Taepshin said that he was the blonde's boyfriend, and he gently hugged his girlfriend. Then the fat guy muttered that they had humiliated him in front of the girl. He assured them that the guys had gotten involved with the wrong person. 3 more rich kids came. Kyul asked if there would be help from the allied side. At that moment, Dako arrived. He took off his glasses. This happened in emergency situations. Taepshin also took a fighting stance. The guy had been doing boxing for 5 years, mixed martial arts for another 5, and judo for 3 years. He was currently going to the gym. Dako hit one of the rich kids with his right. His father was the nation's boxing representative, and his mother was the shot put representative. His parents raised him with strict discipline. Kyul's friends looked a little worse for wear when they came out. She was crying, asking for forgiveness for what had happened because of her. Even Dako's glasses were broken. She promised to buy new ones. The guy asked her not to worry, because he still had a spare pair. But the blonde, sobbing, insisted that she would definitely buy it. Taepshin said to wipe the blood off her lip first, and then talk. Kyul bit someone's arm during a fight, like a real beast. A friend called her fearless, asked what he should do if she kept jumping on everyone. For some reason, he attacked his poor friend, as if reproaching her, asking what she would have done if it weren't for them. Asked if she realized the danger of the situation, as if he was talking to a small, stupid child. The blonde's face sank. She asked why he was shouting. The friend said that she acted thoughtlessly, and that she should have called them right away. He called the girl a fool. Kyul, helpless, began to cry again. She said that it was that girl who started it all, and her friend always treated her like a fool. But the brunette did not calm down. He continued to accuse her of not analyzing the situation soberly enough. Here he noticed tears on the girl's face. He asked what was wrong with her. Joha and Dako began to console her, and to say that she had done nothing wrong. The brunette thought that as usual he was to blame. Joha asked why he attacked the frightened girl. The guy replied that he was worried about her. The blonde replied that they understood worry differently. Joha said he liked the reckless sincerity with which his girlfriend sometimes acted. He called it her charm, but it was really dangerous to deal with that group alone. The guy politely asked to call them next time. The blonde thanked him for these words. She said that the guy was different from the one she had known for 20 years. At the same time, she looked angrily at Taepshin. The friends decided to leave the police station and go home. Kyul was still uncomfortable. She suggested that they at least buy something for their friends at the store. Dahi refused and left. Today he was the king of the fight. It was not for nothing that he spent so much time training. Cole was really curious about why he went to the design department. She decided to find out when they got to know each other better. Taepshin and Yoha said that it was time for everyone to move, but their friend held them back. She suggested that they sit down on a bench in the park. She said that she had something for them. Sitting on the bench, the guys pushed each other, chasing each other away. Kyul rushed over. asked if she had kept them waiting too long. She pulled out some bandages and healing cream from the bag. She taped Taepshin's hand. He complained that it hurt, but the girl glared at him and suggested that he do it himself. Then the guy apologized and went quiet. She asked Joey where it hurt. She offered to apply ointment. The brunette wondered why there was such a caring attitude towards it. Taepshin was indignant. He was a closer friend. He said his arm hurt and asked her to apply ointment. The girl's face showed her reluctance to do so. The blonde replied that he had a second hand, and it was occupied by Yoha. But the guy insisted on his pain in several places of his hand. Kyul slapped him, rudely told him to glue everything himself. The blonde stuck out his tongue, said that he didn't understand girls' feelings. Taepshin didn't know what to do with himself. After all, the guy's first natural reaction to stress was to scream. The patched-up Yoha said goodbye. Kyul waved back happily. Behind her head, the brunette was giving him the middle finger. The blonde was beaming. Taephyun really didn't like that expression. They reached home. The girl thanked him rather casually. After all, she was still offended. The friend repeated that he was sorry. The girl said that she was not going to play today. At this time, the brunette quietly tore off the bandage. Kyul noticed that blood was pouring out of her friend's hand. She couldn't ignore it. He pretended it was a surprise for him. His girlfriend started whining that he couldn't even put on a bandage properly. He was just a baby. The blonde said that she needed to put a new one on at home. Taephyun said that it was because his friend didn't take care of him. He suggested letting him bleed to death. His girlfriend said he was talking nonsense. She started hitting him on the back. The girl didn't want to let him into the apartment right away. She said she needed to clean up a bit. Taepshin asked why. They were in a pretty close relationship. Again, he joked that his girlfriend would let him bleed to death. They argued even as Kyul was putting on the bandage, the girl demanding that he freeze while she tried to help. The brunette complained that it was all because she only cared about Joe. The girl said that her friend was not a little child. She accused the guy of yelling at her in a stressful situation. But the blonde guy didn't do that. She said that if her friend behaved like that next time, she wouldn't help either. Then the guy said in a pleasant voice that he would not scream, but would smile like Joha. He asked if the girl would then only care about him. The blonde noted that Kang Taephyung had become very cunning lately. Something had definitely changed in him. At this time, Dako Dahi was in the hall. It seemed that a fire was starting to ignite in him too. The girl suggested that her friend had been playing tricks lately. He had always been so indifferent to everything she did. He couldn't deny it. Kyul asked if her friend really felt something for her. The brunette thought that if he said it now, he wouldn't be able to change anything. The girl immediately thought that she had said something that she shouldn't have said. The friend moved closer to her, asked what she meant, as if he didn't understand. The girl told him to get out of her face. The friend suggested that she enjoyed nagging him. The blonde denied it, said he was nuts. Taephyun called her amazing, said he enjoyed spending time with her, being around her, but it sounded very casual. The girl got tired of listening to this, and immediately threw the brunette out the door. He thought that his friend had a character of some kind. A moment later, Kyul threw his bag away. The guy started to whine that it was new, but there was something cute about what happened to his friend. After closing the door, Kyul thought that she must have gone crazy to have thought of something like that. It was unthinkable that her best friend liked her. Emotionally, the girl went to cool her face under cold water. Soon she returned to the bed. She was haunted by her friend's strange behavior lately. After all, he had hugged her so tightly when he was sick and would not let go. Today he acted like a child wanting attention. I wondered what it was. I assumed it was friendly jealousy. But now he spoke words that were unusual for him so casually. Everything was very complicated. He needed to sleep. Even if he has feelings, let him confess first. With these thoughts, the girl covered her head with a blanket. When he got home, Taephyung didn't know what to do. Should he say it directly or... It seemed like he was going crazy. His pride wouldn't let him. Decided that the right time would definitely come. After all, there had just been the right time. He was afraid that in another similar situation he would hide his feelings again. Dako was doing biceps exercises. He was wondering why the workout wasn't going well. Maybe he was tired after the fight. A pretty brunette came up to him. She playfully said that she hadn't worked out for a long time. She asked for help. She noticed that the guy looked like he knew his way around the workouts. She said dryly to contact the trainers. The girl thought to herself, what an inaccessible jock. She liked that. She innocently said that all the instructors were busy. The brown-haired man finally agreed to help. but only once. The girl decided to unwittingly touch him during the exercise. She didn't like losing. The brunette got a professional, exhausting workout. The guy was yelling at her, demanding good technique, as if he had rolled her into the asphalt. The exhausted brunette asked if she could count on the next training. Dako again advised her to contact the trainers. He wished her luck. He immediately remembered that it was time to take supplements. He had to hurry. The girl tried to say something else, but the jock already had only protein in his head. The brunette thought how cool he was. After the refusal, she wanted to make even more efforts. Kyul saw in the girls' chat that they were offering to meet up, to go to university together. At the same time, Kang Tae wrote a similar proposal. The girl began to think about who to go with, but the persistent friend even called, said he was standing outside her house. It was simply unbelievable. If he demanded she come out, she would come out, of course. She looked in the mirror. Since when did she care how she looked in front of her best friend? As she walked down the stairs, she was preparing herself for natural behavior. Her friend casually hurried her. He asked why she was leaving so late. The blonde replied that she had left immediately after the call. She did not understand why he was looking so intently into her eyes. She herself noticed that her friend had become much more handsome since entering university. She repeated the question of why he looked like that. The brunette was confused. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't control his emotions. Two feelings were fighting in Taepfen's head. Confusion, what if he screwed it up? And determination, what if she got taken away? In the end, the first one won. The guy decided that now was not the time. He simply told her to go to university, adjusting the blouse that had slipped on her hands. The guy advised her to be more careful with her clothes today. Not to cry and not to call him like last time. His tone was worried. Kyul asked if he was really blushing. The brunette started making excuses, but the girl quickly added that it was all a joke, although she actually thought that he didn't know how she felt. The blonde said briskly that everything would be fine, proudly declared that she wouldn't call him anymore. His girlfriend was becoming more and more beautiful. He felt more and more anxious. The excitement came from just looking at her. They approached the girls. They noticed that Kul, as usual, was with his friend. The girl sneered that he was alone, so she took pity on him. Sue thought he had a lot of friends. The blonde laughed and asked if she really believed that. The frivolous girl asked if even handsome guys don't have friends. Taffney measured the girls with his gaze. All three were short, and they looked like Pokemon. It was funny to watch. The guy heroically announced that he had received pocket money. He said that he would buy them whatever they wanted. The group showed up at the auditorium with identical coffee. One of the students jumped on Kul's neck from behind. She said to definitely join her team next time. She was upset that she had missed her classmate. Yoha, who was sitting at the desk, jealously said that the blonde would be with him next time too. The girl asked if Kul loved her more. They started arguing about it. Taepyeong, who was watching this, thought that next time everyone would go far away. The girl thought that Saran, who fought with the blonde, had a great character. If she were like that, she would have more friends and experience in relationships. Saran noticed the blonde had a bandage on his hands. She asked what it was. She assumed he had gotten into a fight. Joha said that it was too long a story. The blonde said in a tearful voice that it was all because of her. The guy corrected that it was because of those idiots. The dark-haired girl asked why the others didn't know. Cole briefly explained that she got into an altercation yesterday, and 3 friends helped her. Saran promised to go with them next time, to beat up all her friends' offenders. Someone said that she would have run away first. The girl announced her second rank in Taekwondo. She asked who wanted to check. Kiju didn't understand who could be hurt by a bunch of guys protecting her. During a break at the drinks machine, the brunette asked how her friend found common ground with the guys, even faster than with them. And I noted to myself that the girl was not as simple as she seemed. Coyle justified herself by saying that they were so busy at the table that she didn't even dare to speak. And Joha himself made contact with her. The brunette continued that the girl probably doesn't want to be in a group with girls, because she only wants to be with Taehyung. Coyle said that it was not like that at all. And smiling amiably, she suggested to be with them next time. The instigator noted that it was difficult for her to work with the boys, because Joha and Taefyeong were very good at designing. She dropped that Kul's work would be immediately visible. Kul promised to work hard, but her friend did not believe in her. She suggested that the girl tell the professor about her desire to change the group. Another brunette with a shorter haircut made a remark to Kiju that she was already crossing the line in relation to her classmate. The instigator asked again. Defender Kyul reminded that this had been going on since last time, when she very persistently offered her to meet someone. The girl asked that if she was so jealous, then why didn't she join the guy's group herself? Kiju began to deny her envy. She insisted that she simply wanted to help her friend. She asked the blonde if she had offended her in any way. Kyul muttered that she was not offended. Then the brunette simply said sorry. At that moment, Tepchen and Yoha came up. The athlete, as usual, put his hand on his friend's head. Yoha asked what they were apologizing for. The brunette replied that nothing had happened. The guy still repeated the question, what she was asking for forgiveness for. The instigator said that there had been a small skirmish. She asked Kyul to confirm that everything was okay. She nodded. She thought that there was no need to complicate things because of herself. Once again, it was all because of her. She still couldn't handle this on her own. Noticing that his friend was lost in thought, Taepyeong asked her what was wrong. The girl turned around. She answered, nothing special. It was funny that in all the unclear situations she relied on Taepyeong. She needed to learn to solve problems on her own. She didn't want something like this to happen again. After class, our heroine thanked Iha for protecting her from the instigator. The girl replied that there was no need to thank her, but she asked why she kept silent and did not stand up for herself. The blonde replied that she was used to holding back, so she didn't attach much importance to it. Apologized for the inconvenience. Her friend asked why she was always apologizing. The brunette said that she probably shouldn't have interfered. Kyul tried to convince that she was grateful. Her friend said that she really can be too straightforward. The guys were going to go to a cafe. Yihi was supposed to do a tarot reading. The blonde asked if Taepchen was coming. The professor asked him to do something, so he couldn't. But he saw that Kyul was sad, touched her head, said he would buy his friend something tasty later. The girl said that everything was fine with her, but the brunette said that you can tell from her face when she is in a bad mood. He said that at such moments you need to treat your girlfriend. He promised to go later where she wanted. The blonde said that she was very glad to have a friend like him. Joha dragged her into the cafe by the hand. Saran asked why he was so clingy to the girl. He answered irritably that he was in the same group with her. The combat friend said that she would also go to the cafe. The blonde reminded her that she was going on a date with someone today. Then she told Kuhl to be sure to notify him if he did anything bad to her. Taepchen and another student entered the lecture hall to see the professor's assistant. She was a girl with glasses. She immediately became alarmed. She said that she would go get the tools. The brunette volunteered to do it for her. The girl thought to herself that as she expected, the guy was handsome, and he had excellent manners. In another classroom where Taepchen went to get his instruments, he texted his friend to come to the cafe at 8. She agreed. She wrote that her friend was the only one who understood her. 2 girls entered the dark room. The brunette asked who it was, but they didn't hear him. They were talking about how they would be meeting with the guys from the physical education department today. From the voices, he realized that it was Kiju and Saran. The blonde asked why her friend hadn't said goodbye to Kyul and Ihi today. She replied that they looked like idiots. Taepchen was about to go out into the light, but he stopped. The blonde asked why the girl spoke about her friends like that. The brunette said that she only communicated with them because Kyul was Saran's friend. She said that Ihi picked on her, because she treats her badly. She dared to tell her to join the group with the guys. She herself is not some kind of girl who is greedy for boys. Saran noted that she was exactly like that. The brunette cursed her mentally. Taking out her lipstick, she said that it would be hard to communicate with Kyul if she had a handsome best friend. And she called the girl a loser. And she thought that if it weren't for Cap Tapkin, she wouldn't have any friends. The guy thought that because of him, his friend was being discussed again. He came out of the shadows. Kiju jumped. She wondered if her boyfriend had heard her. But he asked specifically about the conversation that had just taken place. He was interested in what Han Kyul had done to displease her. The brunette began to make excuses. Then he asked why he was discussing the girl behind her back. He said that it had been bothering him for a long time. He promised that he would not leave it so easily. He suggested that next time he at least insult her openly. After that, the guy left the auditorium. He thought he needed to get out as soon as possible, to eat with his girlfriend. The subscriber did not answer the call. Kyul did not pick up the phone. The brunette was waiting for her. She had to come since she agreed. He had already arrived at the cafe. There were a lot of people. His friend would definitely like it here. She wanted to come here after all. The waiter asked the guy how many there would be. He replied that there would be 2. The restaurant worker kindly told him to call him when they were ready to order. Taepshin thought that it would take time to cook, and he was hungry. He stopped the waiter and ordered 3 portions at once. The food was brought. The guy decided not to start without his girlfriend. Otherwise, she would be offended. While I was thinking whether to raise the topic of Kiju or not, I decided to remain silent, because it could hurt my friend. I wish Kyul would come sooner. He was very hungry. 40 minutes had already passed. His girlfriend had not come, had not called, and had not written. The food looked so tempting on the set table.